was a young little Mayhem, Godzilla movies were shown on Channel 11 and in black and white, with god-awful out-of-sync voiceover. Titles such as Godzilla vs. King Kong, Godzilla vs. Mothra, or even my personal favorite, Godzilla vs. Mecha Godzilla. They were obviously goofy and not to be taken too seriously. Well, Godzilla Minus One ain't that. It ain't that at all. This film has way more in common with the 1975 Steven Spielberg summer blockbuster Jaws than any cheesy sci-fi fest. I have to pause the review here and restate the following. This is a damn Godzilla movie. Yamazaki wrote, directed, and created all the VFX for the film. One man's vision coming to light by sheer force of will. Released by Toho Studios in the 33rd release of a kaiju, Japanese for strange beast, film by Toho, Godzilla Minus One follows the hero's journey of failed kamikaze pilot Kyoji Shikishima, portrayed by Ronosuke Kamiki. The film takes place at the tail end of World War II, and Shikishima has disgraced himself and feigned mechanical failure on a final kamikaze run and returned to an island base near Japan. His chief mechanic, Sasaku Takebana, portrayed by Muni Aoki, Sasuke realizes what Shikishima has done and berates him for not doing his sworn duty to his country and to his emperor and shames him, although he does not inform the rest of the ground crew of the pilot's cowardice. It's here that we are first introduced to Godzilla. Godzilla has returned to his territorial island, as explained by one of the ground crew members, who also explains where he got his name. He has come ashore to wreak havoc on the base, probably just for disturbing his sleep. The initial version of Godzilla is roughly the same size as a Tyrannosaurus Rex. During the ensuing firefight, Sasaku instructs Kyoji to jump into his grounded Mitsubishi Zero and engage the creature with the airplane's 50 caliber machine guns. Now this would have certainly killed the creature right there and then, as Kyoji had a perfect opportunity for a headshot, and that would have definitely killed Godzilla. But that would have made for an extremely short film. So, Kyoji freezes up again, and nearly all the ground crew, save for Sasaku, who is severely injured, is killed. Kyoji is unceremoniously knocked out when Godzilla knocks the plane over with his massive tail. Fast forward, and the war is ended when the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs over Japan. Keep this in mind, as that it will affect our kaiju. This is where the film takes a more dramatic and somber tone. Kyoji has returned to his beloved Tokyo. It is a city and country in complete collapse. As an aside, the film does a wonderful job incorporating the historical facts of the end of World War II. Among the devastation, our hero is reunited with his neighbor Sumiko Ota, played by Sakura Ando. Ota, who has lost everything in the war, including her family, blames Kyoji for it, berating him that he didn't fight hard enough and with honor for his country. In the second act, we are also introduced to his quote-unquote love interest, Noriko Oishi, played by Minami Hamabe, and she has an orphan baby girl with her. Post-war jobs are scarce, and Kyoji manages to secure the very dangerous job of collecting and detonating the tens of thousands of landmines surrounding all the coastal waters of Japan. Joining up with, and I mean this with the same exact respect that Yamazaki has for Steven Spielberg, the Japanese crew version of the Orca of Jaws fame. From Robert Shaw's character, Quint, portrayed in this version by Sakura Ando as Yoji Akutsu, Richard Dreyfuss's character being split into 2 roles, with Shiro Mitsushima, played by, boy oh boy, these Japanese names are tough, man, Yuki Yamada, being the young man looking to prove himself, and Kenji Noda, played by, here we go, Hidetaka Yoshioka, a naval weapons engineer and general nerd. The fourth is obviously Kyoji himself, filling the role as Chief Martin Brody. The 4 set off and perform their assigned duties. Years go by, and Kyoji and his crew have been highly paid for their dangerous work and have kind of come together in sort of a ragtag family, with Noriko and their adopted daughter, and of course their ever overbearing neighbor. The stage is now set for the return of Godzilla, and boy does he return. It turns out that all the atomic tests that the West conducted in the Pacific Rim has irradiated the kaiju. Godzilla has grown up to the size of a friggin' skyscraper from all the extreme radiation exposure. You know, I've been thinking about this. For this part of the review, I think it's important not to go into further detail of what happens, because I really want you, the audience, to really get an appreciation of the sheer terror and havoc, a force of nature, such as the creature would wreak upon our modern society. The film takes this appearance of Godzilla on the mainland quite seriously as he destroys buildings and houses, much like a Category 5 hurricane would. I don't want to give away too much, like I said, but when Godzilla unleashes his atomic charged breath, it was as if Fat Boy or Little Man was projected into the city like a particle beam death ray, if you'll pardon my hyperbolic expression. But when you see it on film, you'll realize I wasn't hyperbolic enough. Our intrepid team does band together to defeat this monster. The Japanese regain their strength and are reunited as a people to defeat the great threat that has besieged their beloved island nation. A special mention must go out to Miho Tanaka, who portrayed the Tatsu Hota, captain of the Japanese naval destroyer, oh boy, Yukazike? Sorry if I butchered that. Whose character motivated and marshaled his quote-unquote troops to victory over the creature. Or is it really a victory, as the closing credit scene suggests? And to be perfectly frank, I'm perfectly fine with that. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to this masterpiece. Now, I know masterpiece is a big word. It might be a slight exaggeration, as I would give the film about a 9.5 out of 10, as there are a couple of times where Godzilla Minus One drags a bit, but it's so well written and so well acted and so well shot, you kind of overlook it. There is one thing that you can't overlook. This film exposes Hollywood as a big, bloated, decaying corpse that is about to explode and scatter its malfeasant effluence all over the world, covering us in an unholy sludge of poor writing, DEI quotas, and the never-ending expurgation, I had to look that word up, but I liked it, the expurgation of the message. Cheers to the critical drinker for that little descriptive nugget. There is also no inference of another current trope, particularly with Disney Marvel, that Gary from Nerdrotic refers to as the MCU. It's a style of writing where a female character is superimposed onto what is traditionally a male-driven role. Godzilla Minus One uses the most basic trope of all, the hero's journey. Kyoichi finds his way back from humility and cowardice to heroic redemption, and director Yamazaki and Toho Studios managed to pull off this gem of a film for less than one episode of the horrendously awful Disney She-Hulk series. And when I mention less, I mean a lot less. One episode of She-Hulk clocks in at $25 million, whereas Yamazaki and his creative team at Toho have created Godzilla Minus One for the rather paltry $15 million budget, which, by the way, Yamazaki mentioned in a recent interview that he wished it was that high. What the bloody hell is Hollywood doing with all that money? The average crummy Hollywood production costs at least $100 million. And with regards to Disney, those idiots are on track to lose nearly $1 billion in 2023. And Warner Brothers is not faring much better, especially in light of the recent release of Aquaman 2, which apparently is about to drown, if you'll pardon the pun. I guess you could say it's sleeping with the fishes.
What the hell is this?
That's a Sicilian message. It means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
Let us go over the list. How many major film projects have lost hundreds of billions of dollars this year? Ready? Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, The Flash, and of course, the most cataclysmic box office bomb this year, The Marvels, which has lost approximately $200 million when you add in the marketing budget plus the estimated reshoots. Let me say it again, $200 million loss on one film for Disney. On the other hand, as of today, December 17th, 2023, Godzilla Minus One sits at about $64 million, and it has yet to be released in the United Kingdom. Remember, you're talking less than $15 million budget. That's a lot of scuttle. There is something seriously wrong with Hollywood's accounting practices, or maybe Waste Management has been a little excessive in their tonnage fees.
Oh!
Come on, what are you saying?
Anyway, I digress. Godzilla Minus One is well written, directed, and shot. And the VFX, especially with consideration to the budget, are excellent. The characters act like real people, and it's serious. It takes itself seriously. Remember, all this being said, a stupid Godzilla movie, and yet it's my favorite film of 2023. Go out and see it. You won't be disappointed. Mayhem out.
You all know me. Know how I earn a living.
I'll catch this bird for you, but it ain't gonna be easy. Bad fish. Not like going down the pond chasing bluegills or tommy carps. This shark, swallow you whole. Shaking, tenderizing, down you go. And we gotta do it quick. That'll bring back the tourists. That'll put all your businesses on a paying basis. But it's not gonna be pleasant. I value my neck a lot more than $3,000, Chief. I'll find him for 3, but I'll catch him and kill him for 10.